unit tests, integration tests, and system tests. These are the three levels we discussed so far. And we can see that each one of them has different advantages and disadvantages. And pragmatically speaking, we have this idea of the testing pyramid. And as you can see in the figure, the idea is that you do a lot of unit tests, and that is why they are at the basis of the pyramid. And then you go for integration tests, and there you do a little bit less, because they are more expensive. And then you do system tests, but also a little bit less than integration tests. And finally, manual tests, where you try to avoid as much as possible. And if you think about the advantages and the disadvantages, you can see that the more you go to the top of the pyramid, the more real the test is. After all, a system test is more real than a unit test. But it's also more complex to automate, and that is why we try to balance between both. So a very pragmatic tip right now, based on my experience. My suggestion for you is to, whenever you have a business rule, meaning an algorithm that you can very well exercise, like the Roman numeral or whatever algorithm you are writing, you do unit tests, because they are quite easy to control and quite easy to exercise the different cases that your algorithm may encounter. And then as soon as your system starts to talk to an external system, for example, if you have a database involved, then you can test the interaction between the components of your system that talks to the database and the database together. And this is an integration test. And then for system tests are very costly, so we usually, in practice, don't retest the whole system from the system test perspective. We try to focus and test the most important parts of the software, the parts that can never stop. For example, the payment process in a web shop, by means of system tests. In manual tests, you use as a way to do exploratory testing, meaning a human exploring things that we were not able to explore or didn't see before. If you really want to read more about the testing pyramid, there is a very nice blog post on Martin Fowler's wiki from Han Volke. And in this post, the author discusses how he applies the test pyramid in a very practical way. And the blog post gives really concrete examples of what he tests with unit tests, what he tests with integration tests, and what he tests with system tests. However, one thing that we see in practice is people doing what we call the ice cream cone test, which is the test pyramid, but the other way around. They just do a small number of unit tests, they do a lot of system tests, and they do a lot of manual tests. But hopefully, by this time in the course, you already saw the advantages of the automation, meaning you should avoid doing this ice cream cone way of testing. You should focus more on the testing pyramid.